Our goal was to implement our LD 2003 regulations for the city of Portland after it was passed by the legislature. We had a process that included the planning board coming up with a proposal for the city council to consider. And that process, of course, took place with several public meetings and ultimately a vote by the planning board that led the council then to take action on it. We did that on the last meeting of 2023 in December. And, the planning board's proposal was included some restrictions and some regulations that would have kept us from fully taking advantage of the opportunity of LD 2003. And so the goal for us was to be as ambitious as possible and to fully implement all of the opportunities that LD 2003 could provide Portland. Ultimately, what we passed was LD 2003 adoption that had very little, if any, restrictions and allows us to take full advantage of it, which means that most homeowners will be able to develop up to 4 units in their lot, regardless of the underlying zone, and also eliminates any requirements for parking for any new units that are built or developed. The biggest challenge, with issues of land use, they tend to be very complicated. There tends to be a little bit of hesitancy from elected officials to be aggressive because of the very many implications that it has. So I think the challenge was getting the council well informed and comfortable enough with the substance of the amendments that I was proposing and what we were hoping to accomplish, so that they can get behind it and support it when they vote it. And again, thanks to Urbanist Coalition of Portland and certainly the planning board and the planning department, the council felt like they were very informed and capable of articulating the purpose of my amendments and on the line LD 2003 for the purposes of addressing our housing crisis here in Portland. The reason for success was an acknowledgement of the need to act aggressively when it comes to our land use ordinances and policies to make sure that we increase all the opportunities available to developers and homeowners to add more units into our housing stock. Over the last several years, there's been a recode process that's been taking a look at, over different phases, have been taking a look at our land use, our zoning and our land use rules here in the city of Portland. And the current phase is looking at our zoning, and what they're hoping to do is give a comprehensive look at the land use throughout the city of Portland and come up with recommendations that would facilitate development in the areas that our master plan indicates is appropriate. So that, for example, means the arterials leading into downtown, so Brighton Avenue, Forest Avenue, and Washington Avenue. And the idea is to increase opportunities for development along those areas, which are then conducive to people that are traveling in and out of town for work. The opportunity that LD 2003 presented was kind of brought ahead of the recode process. So instead of having this whole comprehensive look at land use, LD 2003 allowed us to have one step ahead or take one step forward in that direction without necessarily implementing the recode process itself. And so I think the planning staff appreciated the opportunity that recode was presenting and was maybe hoping that LD 2003, or what we were trying to achieve through LD 2003, could have been done through the recode process. I felt I felt a little bit hesitant to go that route and miss the opportunity that LD 2003 gave us. So I advocated for us to take advantage of it and ultimately pass the amendments. But I think I understand how the recode process and having a coherent and holistic look at the entire city is really beneficial. And obviously the way that we'd want to look at these types of issues, so that we do have some sort of coherent approach at transportation policies, housing policies, et cetera, et cetera.
But you don't think the 2003 amendments, you think they complement the recode process?
I think so, yeah, absolutely. I think what I heard from the planning department is that they very much wanted to move in that direction. And perhaps the vehicle to get us there, they hoped that it had been the recode process and those comprehensive recommendations that would come. So I think we all agreed on where we wanted to land. but rather how we arrived there. There might have been some difference in opinion, but I don't think that there was a difference in the underlying goal. At the end of the day, it is a supply and demand issue. We need housing stock to be developed in for all income levels. And ultimately, that is going to start to regulate some of the prices that we're seeing get out of hand. Obviously, Portland is one piece of the pie, so what we do here in the municipality is going to have a limited impact. But as we look at the entire state, such as LD 2003 did, I think that we start to have a bigger impact, and we start to advance those goals of facilitating development for all income levels throughout the state.